My name is Anish. I'm Indian. That's the usual reaction. Thank you. Thank you. The thing is, a lot of people don't believe me when I tell them I'm Indian, though. They look at me like, oh my God, what part of India is Mexico in? Right? My parents are both Indian. They have an arranged marriage. A couple of white people here, I'll explain what that is. Now, you guys know what arranged marriage is, right? That's when you don't get to choose the person you end up divorcing. That's how that works. Parents are both from Calcutta, India. By the way I said that, you can probably tell I'm not from Calcutta, India. I grew up in Queens, New York. It was fun, right? I was like one of many Indians. All the street signs were in different languages. And then I moved to the suburbs when I was like 8 years old and became the only Hispanic. All the street signs were in English. I realized I was in America the whole time. Assimilating is hard, though. I realized when I got to college how hard it could actually be for someone who, has never really lived here, was born here. I had a friend who was actually from India, and it was really tough for him to get used to being in America because he had a really thick accent. He also had like very, very dark skin, bad hygiene. But after 4 years, I have to say, after 4 years, his math and science scores were so low that he was a real American. Oh man. I told my parents I was majoring in economics. They were like, whoa, what kind of medicine is that? But growing up was tough. My mom was very hard on me. You got any immigrants in the house? Clap. Clap if your parents are immigrants. Right, your parents are hard on you, right? My mom was so hard on me growing up. Like all my friends, all my white friends, they're obsessed with like the MLB, the NFL, the NBA. My parents made sure that I was obsessed with the SAT. That was my main focus, okay? I got yelled at, I got beaten. That was the one thing I had to focus on. I had to treat the SAT like a sport. And I found out the hard way that the SAT is the only sport where you can get injured if you don't practice. That's a domestic abuse joke, okay? I made a big mistake when I was much younger. I paid attention in high school. I know a couple of you definitely didn't make that one, but the reason I say this is because I have a job, right? I have a corporate job, and I've never been in a situation where my boss called me into his office and was like, Anish, we have a crisis. Are these two triangles congruent? Look at this for a whole hour. I have a couple of friends that are doctors, right? To go to school for like 100 years to become a doctor. I've never heard one story where someone is like, we were gonna lose the patient, but then Ahmed here figured out that the area of the circle was too high. Genius. Right? You know who really doesn't care that you borrowed a lot of money and spent it on something really sexy like an education? The bank. They just want to get paid, right? That's why the term student debt is a really, really dumb term. Debt is debt. It doesn't really matter how you got it, right? It's kind of like saying you have hummus love handles. Or ex-girlfriend AIDS. Doesn't matter how you got it, just get rid of it, right? Nah, you can't really compare AIDS to student debt because I do know some people that have gotten rid of AIDS. I know a couple people that got rid of their student debt as well, but they got AIDS in the process. Fortunately, I am as tough as I look. Went to a hardware store the other day. Went to a hardware store, found out I'm definitely a software guy, you know? I was trying to buy a screwdriver. The guy looks at me, he's like, did you break your last one? It's like, who's out here running through screwdrivers? You know what I mean? Like, I've seen every Iron Man movie, not a single screwdriver is harmed in the making of Iron Man. Then he's like, well, what else is in your toolbox? I don't know, a couple iPhone chargers? Maybe an iPhone 3 in case the Hunger Games actually happens, right? I'm also at the age where a lot of my friends are getting married. One of my friends just proposed to his girlfriend after dating her for 10 years. Took him 10 years to make a mistake. It's like voting for George Bush now. The worst part about it is, though, he has the nerve to get on Facebook and post his picture like, oh my God, she said yes. She said yes. You know, like it was some big surprise after 10 years. Like, buddy, after 10 years, she's probably saying okay. My name is Anish Mitra. Thank you guys so much. Keep it going for your host. Keep it going for James. Thank you.
Anish Mitra, everybody, keep it going.